think I've infiltrated a little group ride. Oh, I got matching helmet. Hi guys. Oh, okay. You need fuel. Great. Alright, we'll get that. Okay, so I mean, I have a multitude of videos I could film right now, like different talking points and whatnot. But first, food. Oh, there we go. Quick announcement, but important. R&G have started their 15% off summer sale, and it runs until the end of this month. And they want me to let you know that if you use the code TIPTOE10, my code, it will get you an extra 10% off. So if you were thinking about investing in some R&G crash protection, especially since you've now seen me test, which they didn't ask me to do, but you know, I thought I'd fulfill my role as an ambassador and sort of see how the crash protection would hold up. And as I've already said, I now wouldn't be without this stuff. So if you would like to protect your bike with whatever R&G crash protection you would like, head to the R&G website, browse their summer sale, and then use the code TIPTOE10 at checkout to get yourself an additional 10% off your purchase. That's a bargain if you ask me. Trying to spoiler. I mean, I always get E5 anyway, but I like to think that knowing that she's got the best food and I might make her behave a bit more. I'm back to spending way too much on fuel. You're coming with me. Hey, pump 5, please. If you're wondering why you're sat on the dashboard, or the windscreen, not dashboard, I've only just put my chin mount on. So, given that I was lucky enough to not be using the camera whilst I crashed, and therefore it lives to see another day, I'd rather not ruin that by it falling off my helmet, because I was impatient. So, you get to look at me today. You might as well learn what the new face looks like anyway. Alright, where do we go? So, maybe we just make this into a what's happened video, which is basically what all of them have been like recently, obviously. This isn't my first ride. I did not film my first ride. This is the first ride I'm filming, so I don't know, maybe I'll do some sort of clickbaity title. Sorry, you didn't join me on my first ride. I've been riding for about a week now. In fact, what day is it? Sunday. I've been riding since Bank Holiday Monday. And in some instances it's been absolutely fine, and others I've had some wobbles, so let's talk about it. Well, the actual first ride that Monday was great. So I did what a lot of you suggested and what I was planning on doing anyway, which was I wasn't alone. I was with my good friend Noah, and there in my mouth. Ah! Please don't turn, mate. Thank you. Absolute legend for not running me over. And we just went for a quick spin. I've still got this bloody hair in my mouth. Now, if you are, I know quite a few of them commented that you've obviously had crashes as well. I don't like to think of it as like it's a when not if kind of situation, but the likelihood is you will have a form of an accident at some point. Obviously some are more severe than others. So a lot of the people who have watched that video have sort of talked about their experiences. Either, you know, they're sat waiting to get back on the bike, or they've crashed a little while ago, 4 years ago, and are back out on it, or never got back on it. So, you know, there are different approaches to it all. I know it was recommended, obviously, go out with a friend. Don't go on your first ride out alone. And I agree with that. Because if you do have wobbles, then at least there's someone there to check up on you. That first ride was pretty good. Obviously, it took me some time to get used to things, mostly like how to work the bike with my wrist, although today is the first day I've had no pain so far getting on the bike. If you're new here and you haven't caught up on the injury side of things, I got a fractured wrist and a concussion, and that was basically the full extent of my injuries other than bruising. The concussion lasted about a week or so. It was over 2 weeks before I started riding again. Basically, you're advised to obviously not operate any heavy machinery until you feel 100% better. But I was back in work after that week and was feeling 100% better mentally, as in also brain-wise, if that makes sense. The only thing that now bothers me is my wrist. Most of the bruising is gone, and that's literally it. The wrist is the only thing. So the first ride was a bit of like, okay, how do I learn to ride with a wrist that can't take as much weight as it should right now? I mean, obviously, if you've got your weight right, if you're holding your weight right on your bike, then you don't put a lot of pressure on your wrist anyway, and this is also not a very aggressive sport bike. But things like braking, when you sort of put more pressure on the bars, was a bit difficult, and clutch control got challenging if I had to do it for too long. Obviously, thankfully, I can clutchless shift in the higher gears like that, so that obviously gave my wrist a bit of a break. You're fine, mate, you don't need to pull over to the white line, I'm not overtaking you. So it was a bit of a figuring things out ride. I then used the bike to commute all week, and that was mostly okay, but issues started to pop up when I was going fast, like dual carriageways. Now this is my problem. I'll carry on a dual carriageway, and it's not the best road surface. It's rather bumpy, and it's not helping my mentality of this bike is safe to do 70 miles an hour on. So I'm currently sat at 70, but you've seen literally every car on the dual carriageway overtake me. I mean, I'm more, bike speed is exaggerated, so I was more at 65. It felt stable, don't get me wrong. Like, I was nowhere near the level of speed wobble I was at to get chucked off. But that was my biggest mental hurdle. So I'm not gonna lie and say it's been smooth sailing, but it also could have been a lot worse. I am grateful I was able to get back on the bike so quickly. I'm relatively healed up. I'm not sat around waiting for myself to heal. Yeah, alright, I'm probably putting a bit too much stress on my wrist occasionally, but I have been discharged from hospital, so there's that. Yes, it was over a phone call, and that only lasted 20 seconds, but, it's something. I really have no idea how well my wrist is heating up, but it's hurting less and less, and I can use it more and more, so I'm thinking that's a good thing. I've never broken a bone before, I don't really know. I think it's very much a case-by-case scenario. Oh, I hear a bike. One thing that hasn't really affected me, maybe to their dismay, I don't know. I don't know what people's intentions are when they comment rude things. But obviously when you post a video of a mistake that you made, you're going to get people calling you everything under the sun. And just it outright being negative. And I'll be quite honest, most of the time I laugh at them because they don't know me. Unfortunately, they'll make assumptions anyway, and I know that. You sort of accept that when you put things on the internet, and you can't really complain because you're like, well, you did post it on the internet, it's where people go to voice their opinions that no one cares about. But unfortunately for them, I really don't care what they have to think. If you think I shouldn't be riding ever again, you've got a very negative outlook on life, and I feel sorry for you. One mistake and you should stop. How do you succeed in anything? Do you say that to everyone who crashes? Hello, Mr. Officer. Don't mind me. I do want to say again, thanks for everyone's support. Like, I really, really do appreciate it. From the big sponsor guys who I still can't believe actually sponsored this channel and obviously have massively helped me out. I'm recording with Ricardo, that video is coming. All the way to every single person who watches. So yeah, I appreciate the support, I appreciate the patience, because I'm not, like, I am trying to post once a week. So what have I done this past week? Well, I went out on my first ride, and that was okay, and then I went out on my second ride, and that was less okay, and then I went out on my third ride, and that was better. Hello, that's nice. That's very nice. It's not a linear sort of progress chart, obviously. All I'm going to say is, if you're going to be in a similar situation, or you are in a similar situation, and you're just waiting for the time to get back on the bike, is be patient with yourself. And this is very hypocritical of me to say, because I was not patient at all. You will just stress yourself out even more by not being patient with yourself. So, well, patient with yourself and with your bike, which is something I am trying to practice right now. Okay, so my phone stopped recording and I can't tell where it stopped, so I don't know what you managed to hear and what I was just talking to myself about. I guess the one thing I want to say is I quickly got frustrated with waiting to heal, waiting to get back on, and it was a very short period of time for me to have to wait. So I send out my sympathy to anyone who is currently suffering from a much longer waiting period to get back on the bike for whatever reason. It's not fun when you want to get back on. I was frustrated when I was having the effects of the concussion. I was frustrated at how slow my thoughts were sometimes, or how I just sort of like, I don't know, how tired I got mentally. And then you discover how much brain power things require, which is very weird. I took a nap after buying tuna because it drained me. But I'm also grateful that that was relatively short-lived. It was one of the things that was sitting in the back of my mind is the phrase, like, I really, really, really do not want to hit my head again. Really, really do not want to hit my head again. Break a wrist, fine. I'll do that again. Not that I want to, but I really, really do not want to hit my head again. And I looked at the sharp ratings when I was looking at next helmet. So this one is rated 5-star, and it's green across the board. It's about the same price as my old one, and my old one wasn't on the sharp ratings, but other Scorpion helmets average about a 4 out of 5 stars, and this is 5, so technically an upgrade. And to answer the question of why do you want to get back on so quick, why are you in such a rush to get back on? Because I want to. Obviously I wanted to wait until I was ready to get back on, which in my case was mostly waiting for physical injuries to die down enough that it's not going to affect how I ride, which they don't now. But I mean, first of all, this is my main mode of transport, and secondly, I don't want it to become alien. Motorcycling is a hobby for some and a lifestyle for others. It's definitely not just a hobby for me anymore. So whilst I say, like, I didn't just throw myself into the deep end, essentially. Like, I didn't go out alone on my first ride, and I listened to how I was feeling and stopped when I needed to, especially when my wrist started playing up. But I also didn't want to hesitate entirely, you know? I'd rather go out for lots of short rides and gradually feel better rather than waiting longer and then it feeling a bit different getting on. So it's a bit of both worlds, really. Don't rush yourself on, but also don't hesitate too much. That was my philosophy with it. Again, it's very individual because everyone's going to have different problems, physical, mental, and bike-wise. Oh, that's great indication, mate. Well done. One bit of housekeeping. The hoodies that you might have seen me wearing, not this one, but other ones, branded ones, have moved. They're still available. They've just moved, so my brother has taken them up onto his eBay store. So hopefully I can change the link in the description, and yeah, if you wanted one, then head there. So he always printed them, he just now posts them as well. So that's that. Nothing different in terms of what you get. It's the exact same stuff. Custom ones are still available. They're not showing on the eBay store at the moment, but if you wanted information about them, just email me. My email's in the description as well. Other than that, check out any of the discount codes that might be useful to you. And yeah, thanks very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.